Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thank you for being subscribers. Thank you to those who just visit every now and then. Truly appreciate each and every one of you. So guys, I want to talk with you all about an experience I had at a church. And I want to tell you why it's important to talk about these things. First of all, it's been quite some time since it happened, and in some of my videos I've talked about it. Sometimes, there's a time when the Lord was taking me through the process of healing and all that good stuff. And I couldn't talk about those things at the time, because what you don't want to do is be talking about things when you're still hurting or from a place of malice, and just being vengeful. So I do believe that while there's certain things that maybe God won't have you talk about at a time, a specific time, when He does heal you and say, talk about this, even though it won't necessarily be everything, it's important that we do that. And the reason why we have to do that, guys, is because it's going to help people who may be going through it, who has gone through it, but yet they've been made to feel that it was just them. They may feel that no one else has experienced that before, which of course will cause them to doubt themselves even more. And it's also a lesson to people who are in churches doing these things, that they will stop. Okay, so it's for everyone. So I was going to this church, and at the time I was engaged, and then we were not engaged anymore. Okay, it ended, and I was there for a bit, and then the Lord had me to leave. I did let them know, okay, that I will be leaving. Just did things the right way. Had no qualms, no issues, no beef, no strife with anybody, because honestly, I was one of those church people. I would go to church, and when I left, I would just leave. I was not a person that stayed around, hanging around. I don't even know if anybody did, but I didn't stick around to find out. So I went, I was courteous to, whoever. Hi, how are you? Whatever. Greet people on the way out, get in my car, and leave. So I was not a person that just hung around where there could be drama or there could be misunderstandings. I was not involved in things. I was not going over to people's houses. They weren't coming over to my houses. I was not in any sort of chat groups, circles. So if me leaving and just giving the courtesies to the leaders, okay, which I felt was right at the time, to say, hey, this is what I think I need to do. So did that, boom, was gone for quite a bit. And at some point, the Lord had me to return. I didn't know why. I was like, Lord, why am I returning there? I'm fine. We've been good. We've been going for some months now. And my ex was still going to the church. So I'm like, Lord, I don't want to go back there, because it's going to look like this. It's going to look like that. And one of the things that I will tell you is, like, whenever I break up with a person, I don't go check their YouTube. Well, not YouTube. I don't go to check their Facebook. I'm not trying to see what they're doing. I'm like, it's over. I have no interest in going back. I don't keep tabs. I don't keep in contact. I just don't do that. The only time I had to do that was with this particular ex, was because at the time we were living together, and so there were things that I was still getting, even though he had changed his address. I had made that clear. There were like little residual things that was coming through, and some things I'll just put back in the mailbox, but then some things where I saw it and I knew that this was something really, really important, something specific that he needed, and it came during the time that we had broken up. The Lord had placed it in my heart, like, hey, don't put this back in the mail. It's going to get recycled back. Just let him know. And like, he will it'll literally just be like where it will be like an exchange in a parking lot. Okay. And then we're gone. You know what I'm saying? So, needless to say, I just, outside of those residual things that I ended up having to do, I'm not trying to get with you or get back with you. So, and I don't go in frequent places where I know that, he will be. So when the Lord was telling me to go back to the church, I really struggled with that because I was like, God, this is going to look some type of way. But needless to say, even how that came about, guys, it was like, it's such a long story. I'm going to just condense it. So I was fine. I was on my own. God, just really just getting a complete outpouring from the Lord. At the time, I was like visiting and fellowshipping with other brothers and sisters in the Lord and other ministries. I was visiting like even Asian churches. It was awesome, right? So, but somehow it was like that something I started to feel within myself, like there's something that I needed to do. When there's this impression on your spirit, and I wasn't sure why. So I prayed and I asked the Lord, I said, Father, I don't know what this feeling is. Let me know. I feel like there's something that you need me to do. There was just something. So I waited and I prayed and I waited. 3 days after I did that, a person that was from the church that I used to go to, where my ex goes to now, she contacted me. What was unusual about her was she was someone that had become a part of that church along with me and my ex when we joined at the same time. I didn't know her, never interacted with her in anything. But long story short, this is a long story short. She basically was like, the Lord kept bringing me up to in her heart for like the last few months and such. And like she was trying to get my number. She didn't know my number. So she was asking my ex for it. But, he wasn't giving it to her at first. And so then she forgot or whatever the case was. And then she finally said, please, I really need to get in touch with her. So he does give it to her and she reaches out to me. She reaches out to me within 3 days of this prayer that I had. Keep in mind, according to her, the Lord had placed me on her heart like since November or something like that of that year or something of that nature, right? And so she contacts me and is just basically like just saying, hey, the Lord would like you to come back. She was just talking to me. It wasn't like that, but that was a nutshell. Basically that, I was to return there and all these different things. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a person, I don't fall for the okie doke. I'm not a person that's just going to believe what anybody says. But it did kind of, as soon as she said that, then that feeling that I've been having for that week prior when I prayed, it just left. It was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I did feel like, Lord, that was when I started praying and said, God, you want me to go back there? Do you know how this is going to look and whatever? And the Lord was like, trust me and obey me. Okay, so I went, I did what the Lord told me to do. I immediately obeyed God because I didn't want to give myself time to talk myself out of it. So I went back. I thought I have all this apprehension, but ironically, guys, I was like so peaceful. I felt such peace. I was able to worship the Lord, all of that, do my thing. I did see my fiance, my ex-fiance, but it wasn't like I did not sense that the Lord wanted me to go over to him and be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. Just, I was there. I think at one point we were passing by each other and I just said, good morning, and just kept going. And I was like so happy to just realize I did not have any sort of like anxiety being there. So you guys, in order to really get the full gist of how this happened, I have a video that's called Sometimes the Lord Will Take You Backwards to Promote You Forward. So long story short, guys, why I ended up going back after it was all said and done, the Lord had me to go back there because he wanted me, there were certain things I had to just go and deal with and obey him. Can I still see my ex-fiance and not feel any anxiety towards him? Can I worship God despite the things I began to experience there, which was very surprising to me because it wasn't long, like after the Lord had me there for this time and all the things that I was experiencing there, it was so weird. But then I realized God he was just doing the last finishing touches on my obedience, on my submission to him, on forgiving people, and pushing through despite what I feel. And then he just sent me to do what he really wanted me to do. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to link below the videos that will explain everything that I'm going to explain here. So let me tell you what had happened. So I go back to this place when the Lord tells me to go back, right? Didn't understand why. But I was met with such resistance. I was surprised because, again, like I told you, I never had any beef with anybody in there. I've never had any altercations with anybody. I've never had any run-ins. My attendance in that church was of such that nobody should be able to say that I said such and such to somebody and I went out to eat with this person and this person came back and told me that you said this. I was not that girl. I was not that person. I went to church. I came back home. That was it. I did not get involved in anything. I did not have anybody's phone numbers. Just me and my fiance would go to church and we'll leave. So I was really surprised when I went back, with the exception of the lady that contacted me with what the Lord had placed in her heart, and maybe one other person. It was like there was this strange feeling, like, like resistance, even when I thought, maybe the Lord would want me to join an auxiliary. There was resistance to that. I will link that video below so you can understand how that happened. It's called Praise Team Chronicles. I'll link it below so you guys can see what went down there. So there was resistance there. And then, as I said, when I went back, I'd reached out to individuals that I felt I should reach out to. Hey, I'm here. That was just ignored. And guys, it was just weird, just like stuff I just would not expect. I'm not saying that I expected them to just be like, hey girl, nothing like that, but hey, how are you? Good to see you, whatever. And we just go on, right? And we just vibing. Everything's good. No, odd. And let me tell you what's funny. Prior to me returning there, the Lord had me on a fast. And when you have been fasting like that, when you are fasting, you really pick up on so many things early. So there were things that I experienced, guys, where I was being basically shunned without words, okay? The passive aggressive stuff. And I was experiencing it with specific women and females. And their behavior towards me, their unspoken behavior. Now, some people are like, oh, well, you might have just been thinking it. No, because I never had a reason to think anything. You know what I mean? My only concern returning there was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go there. And my ex is there. It's going to look so weird. That was it. But never once did I ever think that the people there would be treating me a certain way because they have no reason to. So when I got there, let me tell you, when females like sitting behind me and just, it was like at a rehearsal and they're just sitting there, these two females not speaking. They're standing right there, right by where I'm at, just walk up talking, not speaking to me whatsoever, like I'm not. They're sitting behind me. It was just this, it was the first time in my life that I've ever felt heat. I could feel this heat behind me where they were both sitting at. It was so weird. It was the thing that they were doing. People that would normally speak to me before I left, when I was still engaged, these women would normally be coming up to me and talking to me, or I would have a clear exchange with them. Suddenly, not talking to me at all. Like sitting right there next to me, just walk up, not talking to each other as if I'm not there, sitting behind me, not speaking. Now, guys, naturally, when people are that way, right? Or they know you, they'll be like, hey, how are you, blah blah blah. Even if they're going to talk to one another, they say, hey, what's up, how you doing? None of that, guys. It was like I was not there. It was like I was invisible. I want to be clear, guys, that these behaviors were occurring with me just returning back. Women that I've known before or would speak to me just returning, they were giving me the silent treatment. And there was just so many other things. You'll have to watch this video to understand. I was getting where I had to leave church early one day. Church was going on and I had to leave early. And I was going in the foyer. There was no one in the foyer except for this one girl and this guy she was standing with. And when I was walking across the foyer, she's looking at me, guys, like up and down, give me this dirty look. This girl, I don't know who she is. Like, I've seen her there. I've had no interactions with her whatsoever. But she somehow felt she could look at me up and down with some dirty look while I'm walking by. And I guess the guy must have said something to her. Like, as I passed by her, the guy said something to her. And she says, oh, I'm just looking at her in her shiny pants or whatever she said. Because it was Super Bowl Sunday. You know, the church was celebrating Super Bowl. And, you know, we had on clothes, different outfits and stuff like that. And I had on these pants. Well, she felt, and they were cute, but she felt that she could say that as I'm walking by because she's giving me a stink look. I notice it. I don't engage with her. I keep going across the foyer to go where I need to go to leave. And she makes that comment. This is in church, guys. Okay? And I remember going to the car and I said to God, God, did you bring me back to this church so these individuals, these people can undo everything that you've been doing to me? Because, guys, it was so much shade going on. As I said, resistance with me joining the praise team. There was these little things that started happening. One person saying this, another person saying that. The rules are suddenly changing. Sitting behind me, not speaking. It was just so much. And again, guys, I'm not a petty person. You know, at this point, I'm almost close to retiring from the military, been running clinics, running sections, working with surgeons. I am helping, you know, to hire people. I'm part of the hiring team. I know about interpersonal skills and working with people through your differences and everything. So there's no way that I'm not seeing what I'm seeing, but there's a game that they play in church, you see. So let me tell you what happened. So they just start treating me and behaving this way towards me. Just these dirty looks and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, ignoring, walking by. And, you know, the Lord revealed to me. And he said, there's a narrative here. There's a narrative about you here. There was a narrative there about you. I'm saying it correctly because the Lord has already given me revelation on that. And I've done videos on that. But this is something that the Lord has recently spoken into my heart and I'm sharing with you today. There was already a narrative going about me. Who I am, where it came from, how it came about, who knows? I was there, my ex-fiance and I was there together. I left, and then now he was still there for a while. Now I'm back. There was a narrative. And not only was there a narrative, but there was an assumption made about why I had returned. So just like me thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back there because it's going to look like I'm there for him. There's an assumption made by them that I returned with ulterior motives for him. And so these women felt that they needed to stand in the gap, let's put it like that, or do things to treat me a certain way because of what they felt I was doing. And these women, some married, okay, their own desires and feelings for him is one of the things that motivated them to do what they did. So he's likable. So I'm sure they found him charming. There also, the Lord showed me attraction to him, physical, sexual attraction to him, which wouldn't be hard because he is like a very handsome and he's very charming. Okay, so that was there. And they also began to run with this narrative of why they felt I was back. And sometimes what happens is people have this ability, believers in the Lord has this ability to take their personal fleshy feelings, slap God on it, and suddenly say they're getting revelation about you. So what the Lord revealed to me very recently that I want to share with you guys is that there was a narrative going on about my motives, my intentions, and who I was. So that was why people I've never had any personal encounters with felt that they could deal with me in a disrespectful manner, speak to me in the manner that they were speaking to me, ignore me, walk by me, sit behind me, not speak, having known me and having spoken to me in the past, play games with the auxiliary, Again, you've got to watch these videos that I'll link down below so you can understand what happened. And they will do these things and claim the Lord revealed something. This is why after they even play games with the auxiliary, and why everybody that I'd been going to rehearsal with, talking to, suddenly I wasn't there anymore, and they were just, no one ever said, hey, where are you? Because there's already a narrative put out. Okay? And so guys, what I would say about this was they were treating me a certain way and not realizing that I didn't come there on my own, but the Lord had already spoken to somebody who was already in their church that I didn't even know, spoke to my heart that I needed to be there, which confirmed that feeling the Lord had placed in my heart, like something was coming. I was going there in full obedience to God, doing what God was telling me to do, while they continued to ignore me, walk by me, snub me, talk to me crazy while I'm walking by them. I remember once even walking, I was getting something and I'm coming in, and all of these women that I've known, okay, like we weren't buddies, but they know me. They were just sitting there. Suddenly it was like quiet when I was walking through that foyer, through that room, and it was so weird. It was so odd. There was no natural flow of, hey, you're leaving. All right, see ya. Those are natural things, but people just get quiet and looking at you. Why? There's a narrative going. And sometimes people will make assumptions about you. People will judge you maybe based on the things they would do. Maybe they're the types that will go find their man, go to a church to go get him back, or show up and use the church as a way to link up. But that was not me. Because truth be told, if I wanted to get back with him, at this point, we were done. We were probably both done. Okay, but if I want to reach out to him, if I want to attempt to do that, I don't have to come to church for that. I knew his phone number. I had his cell number. Okay, I could have easily taken, they didn't realize that I had already had to meet him a few times to return, to give things that I knew, specifically male, that I knew was important. There was something that he left that I knew was very important. It was something that I think it was something for his daughter. Okay, so I'm not going to be vindictive and toss it in the trash. And those were the things that God was always dealing with me on. Do the right things, do the right thing, do the right thing. And that's what I did. Sometimes doing the right thing meant that, hey, I would just send him a message. Hey, this is here. This came in. This letter came in. I knew this letter was super important to him because he had been working on it. It showed up. I could have been grudgingly and put it back in the mail, let it go recycle and get delayed. I didn't do that. I did the right thing. Not because I want to get back with him, but you still need to do the right things at times, even if you're not with a person, because it's a character thing. It has nothing to do with a relationship. So therefore, those times I met him, I could have tried to set it up and be like, hey, I'm going to be here. Can you meet me at this place? I'm having lunch here. I could have done that. I could have easily done those things and met him in a restaurant, or said something more than what I needed to say, or, you know what I mean? I don't need church for a guy. I don't need to walk in there because we didn't meet in the church. The church didn't put us together. And I don't need to use God's house for a man. So in my opinion, I feel like these women were judging me based on probably what they would do. They will use the church as, the hookup spot. That's not me. So they were making assumptions about me. They were making assumptions about why I joined the auxiliaries. The Lord just showed me all these things. So they felt like they need to get in there and block me or get me out of there or ignore me or behave a certain way so I can feel I'm not welcome. And I mean, at the end of the day, even when I left, no one ever said anything to me. I was so glad when I woke up and the Lord said, I kept hearing March 16th, March 16th. And I was like, oh, that's Dad's birthday. And the Lord's like, no, that's your last day. You will not be going back. And I was so excited, because it was a lot. They didn't realize how much they were doing towards me based on their assumptions of what they thought, why I was there. And I want to just tell you guys that sometimes God will have you to go to places and do things that's sometimes uncomfortable, but it has to do with how do you fare in this environment. I know you don't want to be here, but I've sent you here for a time. Can you still act right? Can you still do the right thing? The Lord was dealing with me with so many different things. I had a superior when I was in the military that had really given me a hard time, had really done some messed up things. And I was really like, they were wrong for it. And the Lord was having me contact these people, this individual. He was like, I was praying one day and the Lord was like, I want you to call up, so and so, and I want you to apologize. My eyes popped open so quick in that prayer, like, Lord, no, you know exactly how this person did me. I did not do anything. I've done everything right. And the Lord was like, I want you to apologize to him because you need to apologize for, he said, you know how you were feeling, you know how you were thinking. I mean, I didn't go off on him, but I was mad. I was expressing myself. And the Lord was like, you need to apologize for that. Oh, so I had to, I obeyed God. I picked up the phone. I was like, can I text him? Like, no, pick up the phone. I picked up the phone. I called him, this military superior. I talked to him and I could tell, I could hear in the background, he was out, I could hear the music and stuff. And when I apologized to him, he was so quiet. He was so silent. He did not expect that. And he apologized to me as well. I called other people that had done me grimy. I was like, Lord, no. Well, the Lord was like, no, because you did this. I contacted these individuals. That was it. And others, God just dealt with me like, you need to forgive this person or you need to pray for this person. I mean, it was this whole thing. So now here's the Lord sending me to the church. This was like the biggest test, right? But never, ever did I expect that reaction from them. So guys, there's, watch my videos that I'm going to link below to really understand. But the funny thing is, people can be doing things to others, assuming stuff when God has sent that person there. That person is probably just in the last stretch, or God is taking them through this walk, just have them there. He's teaching them some lessons. He's preparing them for the next thing. And people are there going, oh, she must be here for that. He must be here for that. Oh, he must feel sad. Oh, he know he was wrong for what he did. When simply God has placed them there for a season. I didn't know I was going to be there for a season. So that's why I was like, okay, when I got there, they wanted people to join different auxiliaries. So I was like, well, this must be what God wants me to do. And so I went there, but there was resistance in that. All right. Other things were going on, guys. It was just so cray. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. And when I was there, guys, I have these journals that I was keeping. When I was there, I was having the craziest dreams. I was having so many spiritual dreams. I was dreaming about so many things when I was there. When I was there, I was dreaming about like a big, huge snake just came out of the ground, and wasps and flies and bugs. I was having these type of dreams. I was dreaming about, there was a lot of sexual, like, innuendo type dreams. There were things where something deformed was at the front of the door of that church. Didn't want me there. I knew I was getting ready to leave. I felt that might have been it, because in a dream I was dreaming that I couldn't find any parking. There was nowhere for me to park. There's nowhere for me to sit. The leaders, came up to me and they were talking to me about their skin. They had big chunks of salt crystals on their skin. It was so weird. I had this dream that like the back of the pulpit, it just opened up and there was like this secret area back there. The floors was checkered in black and white. And I recognized those checkered floors because that's a part of, like, in the Masonic Lodge, they have that checkered floor. And there was like, it was just like the pulpit opened up, and when you went to the back, there was like darkness. It looked like a little club, a little hangout spot was back there. I was dreaming all these things. Now, does that mean they have a club in the church? Does it mean that they're in masonry? Maybe, maybe not. Well, definitely not the club in the back. But those things have significance, and the way I was being treated. And so, guys, what I'm saying is, the Lord was showing me and he was teaching me some things, but yet he was like, keep going, keep going. And this is what he said to me. I was like, why couldn't I just learn these lessons another way? He said, Arlene, you went and you obeyed me, but this was also the opportunity he said, there were some things they needed to do as well, and they failed to do it. They didn't take that opportunity. They didn't do it. But you did your part, and it's time for you to go. And so that was it. So guys, sometimes the Lord will send you to places and it may be uncomfortable. Just obey him. Obey him. And what I would tell people who is in ministries, or you may have been a part of a ministry where the pastors or leaders are telling you things about someone and you're just following that, or people within the church, they're talking about that individuals and these quote unquote revelations, and God showed them this about the person. You have got to ask God to forgive you for times that you just jumped on the bandwagon and isolated and mistreated somebody, not knowing anything about anything other than what you were told, because not everybody is spiritual. If there's something you need to know about somebody, God is going to reveal that to you. But you find a lot of churches, they'll get together, follow a narrative, pick their favorite, and pick on and isolate the person that they don't want there or they don't like. As I told you, I did not know why. I was like, I've never talked to this chick. That's how I was feeling. I was like, chick, I never talked to this chick in my life. Where does she go off thinking she can speak to me like that? And let me tell you something. Me being me, I could have turned around and calmly just ripped her to shreds, because I'm nice like that with mine. So like, I could literally turn around and clown you, okay? Like, seriously, I already seen certain things instantly with her that I could have straight up hurt her feelings on the spot. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't do it. And that's the thing, people, you got to stop doing these things. People that's in church doing this, because you don't know where God has changed people, where he saved them, where he brought them from. And you'll be in there doing stuff, feeling all safe in the pulpit, not thinking someone can deck you. Someone could knock you out. Or you can drive somebody to go and start shooting up drugs, kill himself, do whatever, or just really act out of sorts, or they just be done with their walk. If I was not rooted and grounded in Christ, I would have left, and I would have never went back to any church. Never. And so that was one of the reasons why, because when I was going there, I was getting counsel. I was going there, and the Lord was like, don't go back. Do not get any more counsel. You're leaving. This is what happened the first time I left. He's like, no more. And I was like, why? Thought I'm doing the right thing. God was like, no. But guess what? Now he showed me when I went back, the one that was giving me the most shade. So he was like, no, I didn't want you to share because of X, Y, Z. So guys, I just wanted to just say here that it's important as believers in the Lord that you do not just follow the bandwagon. Churches have a habit of doing this. Just following the leader, following what Simon says, and you don't know what's going on in that person's life. You don't know the truth. Sometimes a husband or a wife or someone comes into the church and they say something, and because they're their favorites and they're in the ministry, they begin to mistreat their wives. Okay, they just immediately take the side of the wife, or they immediately begin to mistreat the husband because mistreat the husband because of what the wife said, or mistreat the wife because of what the husband said. And there is just, everything is imbalanced. So now that person, in addition to being mistreated at home or being neglected, they come into the house of God, they go to the house of God, and now because he's in with the leadership, or he's a part of the leadership team, they begin to isolate and mistreat the wife. It gets out in the church. That's, something she used to do, she can't do it anymore. Or people are not as friendly or as receptive. They're not telling her about events and meetings anymore. If it is the wife that's a part of the leadership team or a part or in it, if she tells a narrative about her husband, then all of a sudden he's being mistreated, he's being neglected, he's no longer able to be a part of a ministry or something he used to do. He's not doing it anymore. They're switching things up, not telling him, or just sitting him down altogether just because she said something. So people are not walking in discernment. They're not walking in using their brain. A lot of times believers will check their brain at the door. And they're also, sometimes they're going to believe you're doing things that they would do. As I said, maybe women will come into the church and be like, oh, I'm coming in here to get my man. Maybe. That's not who I am. I've never had to do that. I've never had to hunt. Okay? So that was so odd to me. And there's a moment that I was just feeling so like, wow, like, how is this female doing this? I don't even know these women. That's how I was thinking. But the Lord he revealed to me, there was a narrative out there about you that everyone blindly followed. And so they felt they need to get in a position to block you, get you out, push you out, mistreat you, make a judgment against you. And then on top of it, they felt that they have the God-given right to now engage with you in a way to get you out of there or to let you know that you're not welcome. And guys, that is not of God. That petty game that's played in ministries, that is not of God. So guys, I obey the Lord. I did what he said to do. I went back despite that rudeness. I continued to worship God. And at the appointed time, he said, it's time to go. You've done what you need to do. Next thing. And then I would say probably a while after that, he told me to start this YouTube channel. You see? So God has a plan. So we have to be careful what we say about people. We have to be careful that we don't just jump on the bandwagon. As believers, you should not just believe something that your pastor told you about somebody or believe something that this person told you just because they're in a certain position. You need to have it in your mind to say, you know what? Let me pray and go before God regarding this person. You should not just cut people off and stop talking to a person or begin to mistreat somebody because everybody else is doing it. That is childish. It's high school. It's elementary school. It's grade school. And it's carnal. And what happens is when you do that, you're going to end up being a part of the fallout. Because you know what? As I said before, I always give you guys the example. When Samson was inside that Colosseum and he put both his hands on that post, on those two pillars, and he pushed it for the last time, everybody perished. Everybody that was in there perished. Everyone who was in that Colosseum, who had come to see him being made of sport, to see this mighty person now brought down. They were excited to see that. They were happy to see that. Oh, he finally got his he's not as big as he thought he was, or some people probably just came just to see. They all died. Why? They were all a part of that. They're not the ones that put his eye out. They're not the ones, not everybody in there, the ones that put him in chains. Okay, they didn't do that, but they were there. They were a part of that whole, they were all meeting up together. You see? So guys, you have to understand the importance. You can't say, well, I didn't know, that's what they told me. You have the Spirit of God. You could have said, you should have gone to God. I didn't know that, but here's the bottom line. The person didn't do anything to you. So how could you just believe something when someone's never done something to you? They just told me this, but why would you just believe that when you have never witnessed it for yourself? You don't know. You've never talked to the person. You have no clue. How do you just believe a person and you've never, ever had any encounters? How do these women feel that they can treat me that way? I've never even had tea with them. They don't even have my number. They've never been to my house. I've never been to their house. We've never talked out like that. So how? Because what happens is, based on their own hearts, their own carnal desires. They probably didn't like me to begin with. And somebody told them something, someone that they hold up in higher esteem than God, because they equate this person to God. Oh, well, if this person says this, this must be true. Well, if he told them this, it must be true. And so they began to do the silent passive aggressive attack. You know, that attack where they do stuff and then they want to say they do it in this way because they know it's wrong, but they do it in this way where if you talk about it, they can go, no, I didn't do that, but I have the Holy Spirit. I know that I'm not a fool. I know what happened. They was an absolute nasty catty behavior with a lot of the women that was in there behaving that way. And so the Lord just revealed to me desires. Yes, she's married, but she has a thing for him. Yes, she's this, she's hoping. She's single, she's looking at him because he's single. They're coming together this way with ulterior motive. They prefer him to you. Different things of that nature. You know what I mean? So I followed God. I obeyed him. But lesson to be learned is when God may send you to go somewhere, just do what he tells you to do, despite how people are treating you, because God's going to look at how are you going to react in this situation? Are you going to trust me? And he will give you the strength to do what you need to do. Sometimes you're not going to learn your lesson if you keep on resisting and fighting back and, oh, y'all are this or this. Sometimes, guys, you have to just surrender yourself. It may appear that you're surrendering to their mistreatment, but what you're really doing, you're surrendering to the will of the Father. I've had that happen to me. You know, when all these games was being played in the military, at some point, there were things that I was like, I know based on my rank and my position, I'm not supposed to be doing these things. But because these others who were superiors to me, they had an ulterior motive. They had it out for me. They were like, oh, we're going to have her do this, this, this. And I was like, at first, I was going to fight back. And the Lord was like, no, don't fight back. You're right. You shouldn't be doing this at your grade level and your position, but do this. I'm going to take care of you. And he sure did. So I submitted, even though it looked like, I was like, man, dang, what's going on? It looked like I was just being, docile, but I was submitting to God. So, and then he vindicated me. He vindicated me, like big time. So when sometimes you're in places, whether it's at your job or certain places, God may say, hey, you need to be here for a bit, and they're being a certain way. You continue to behave yourself wisely, just like Joseph. Just like Joseph, of course, Joseph continued to behave himself wisely, even while he was a prisoner, and when he was lied on. David continued to behave himself wisely because he was going to be king. God had a place that he was going to put him eventually, but he had to be here for a bit, and eventually he had to leave. And when he left, he was pursued. Saul continued to pursue him, and David continued to behave himself wisely even though he was being attacked by Saul, and God vindicated him. God took care of David. So that was the same thing. No one knew and realized that I was there. God sent me there for a time. So they attacked me thinking I'm there to hook up with my ex, or I'm there to, for whatever reason, judging me, mistreating me, teaming up on me in a covert way. But then I just continued to do the right thing. I prayed. I would go to God and say, Lord, why is this happening? He will tell me why, or he'll say, would you trust me? Will you trust me? Most of the times he said, will you trust me? It wasn't until when I was done and he said, time to go, that he began to just reveal everything to me. And then what he just revealed to me recently that I'm sharing to you, that sometimes there's a narrative, people are behaving because a narrative is already out about you. Somebody has already gone and said certain things about you to these people. And because they have no wisdom, no knowledge, no discernment, they're going to follow with what is being said. They're going to believe every word, and they're just going to do what they're just going to behave a certain way towards you. But God wants you to stay focused on what he wants you to do, because in time he's going to vindicate you. In time he will pull you up. In time he's going to set you in a higher place. And to those, as I said, in the church, You guys need to stop following people like the congregation of blind minds. Somebody just tell you something about somebody and it's true. You're gonna believe one person and then mistreat the other person. You're gonna believe the husband, mistreat the wife. Believe the wife, mistreat the husband. You should not be doing that as believers. Even if somebody is wrong, yes, you may need to intervene and help them, especially if it's something where they're in danger, they're endangering their families and things of that nature. But you still got to realize that person is a soul. It is not for you to abuse them, mistreat them, do that covert stuff, because what happens in the church is they do those nasty behaviors so that you can't call them out. You can't pinpoint and say exactly what they did. But when you have the Holy Spirit, when a person is filled with the power of God, when they are filled with the Spirit of God, it's not about you doing anything. I can discern. Jesus was able to perceive the hearts of the Pharisees. He was able to discern what they were doing. He was able to see beforehand what was within them. It didn't require them to do anything to his face or say anything to his face. He discerned because we're walking in the Spirit and not in the flesh. So I don't need you to come right out and say and do things. When you're walking in the Spirit of God, when we have a spirit, he is going to reveal it. He's going to show you that spirit. He's going to show you that unclean spirit. He's going to show you that covert spirit. He's going to show you the principality in which this person or individuals operate on, because he showed me what was there was the individuals, and he showed me what was pretty much there on a whole that was coming down and basically at the door. You're not welcome. You're not welcome here. Now, can I say the entire church was like that? No, because my experience was not with the entire church. What was revealed to me in my dreams could have been simply what's coming from these individuals, what's coming from these women that was there, as far as just the warfare and that deformed thing at the door. It could have simply just been showing me what's coming from them, because I can't say on the whole what the whole church was all about. But God reveals so many things. And guys, he will show you. What you got to realize is sometimes you don't need concrete evidence all the time. When you're walking with the Spirit of God, when God is when he's at the head of your life and he's guiding you, it's not always going to be concrete. You're going to be seeing things before it happens. You're going to be able to see in the midst of all when they're trying to put that facade, you're going to be able to see them. You're going to be able to see their heart. You're going to see that spirit peeking through their eyes. You're going to be able to just discern. You're going to see it on their spirit, and the things that they do, you're just going to know.
I'm really thankful for the things that I experienced. And one of the things that I will say, if there was something that I had done that offended or they were upset about, why would they never sit me down and talk to me? Why would these ladies never sit and just say, hey, this is what we have against you, and we discuss it? This is a problem with the church.
Not being nice, being unkind, not speaking to someone. These are basic things that you teach your children. You don't just walk by somebody and not speak. You don't ignore somebody that's standing right next to you. You don't just stand there and have a conversation while someone is sitting right there next to you and you don't talk to them. That is rude, that is ignorant, that's disrespectful, and it is not supposed to be something that's going on in a church.
I want to caveat on that. It is a horrible thing. How can someone fix something when they're not being told? How can someone rectify something and they're not being given the opportunity to fix it? 9 times out of 10, guys, the reason why they don't say anything is because there's no justified reason.
So, point blank, period. Let's not play that game. So guys, I hope this helps someone. You are not alone. That covert spirit is real. It is sent to make you doubt yourself. It's sent to make you either submit to them so that you don't feel it, or you get out their church. Okay? And it's also to make you feel like you're losing your mind and let you feel like you are somehow estranged. But God is with you. No matter what you feel, you turn to God and you choose him. You may be in uncomfortable spots for a while. It's okay. God is going to take you higher, and you're going to have enough oil within you through your experiences, providing that you pass the test, which means you don't allow yourself to get fleshy and clap back. You will have enough oil in you that you'll be able to heal others and encourage others and help others to open up their eyes and see what's around them and take a hold of God. All right, guys, if you have questions or comments, comment below. Leave your comments, questions below. You can reach out to me by email. You will find that in my About link. And God bless. Thanks for listening.